Today we are going to explore the structures of sentences in English, specifically the four fundamental types: simple, compound, complex, and compound-complex sentences. Understanding these forms enhances the ability of students to write coherent and meaningful expressions or sentences to enhance their academic writing for academic and professional purposes. The simple sentence. A simple sentence contains a single independent clause, meaning that it has a subject and a predicate, expressing a complete thought. Despite its name, sometimes it can be complex or elaborate, especially when it contains compound subjects and compound predicates. These are forms of long phrases. Example: the researcher presented her findings during the International Symposium, captivating the distinguished audience with her insights. Analysis of this sentence. Let's analyze the sentence together. What are the main parts of this sentence? We have the researcher is the subject. The predicate shared her results at the conference. We have the verb shared. The object complement her results. Okay, and all of these are phrases. So we have a noun phrase, a verb phrase, and in the end a prepositional phrase at the conference. The types of clauses we have here: we have an independent clause. It's the main clause, and we have it's the only one. It has a subject and a predicate expressing a complete thought. Why? Why do we? What is the type of this sentence? Why? How can we find the type of this sentence? Because it contains. Let's see now the types of clauses we have here. We have one subordinate clause. It starts with although. We have two independent clauses. The team completed it on time and they presented their findings successfully. And these two independent clauses are linked by and. And is a coordinating conjunction. So if we find one subordinating conjunction and one coordinating conjunction in one long sentence, it is most likely a complex or a compound complex sentence. It is first compound because we have and in it. Okay, we have two main independent clauses. Then one of them has a subordinate conjunction. The other one too could have a subordinating conjunction. Okay, I mean a dependent clause with it. Both of them can have one. So this sentence has two main ideas joined by and with an additional subordinating clause, which provides context and makes it a compound complex sentence. Shall we go now? Please try to do the first example on your own. Okay. While the preliminary results suggested a correlation, the subsequent analysis challenged initial assumptions, and the embedded relative clause, which incorporated additional variables. All right. So we have here in the same way. We have two independent clauses, with one of them has a dependent clause with it. It starts with while. While the preliminary results suggested a correlation. Here then. Now in conclusion, we can say that mastering these four types empowers all writers to communicate complex ideas effectively, whether presenting straightforward facts or weaving intricate arguments, like in dissertation. Understanding these structural nuances enhances or helps both students and teachers and readers to find clarity and it shows mastery of the English language. Here we go. Now in summary, we can say that a simple sentence is one independent clause with a subject and a predicate. A compound sentence is composed of two or more independent clauses joined by coordinating conjunctions, while a complex sentence is one independent clause plus at least one subordinate clause introduced by subordinating conjunctions. Now the fourth type, compound complex sentence. It sounds difficult, but it is not. It contains. Alright, now let's continue with examples of common sentence structure errors. Sometimes some students either write with the wrong punctuation, or write half sentences, or simply write too many sentences without the appropriate punctuation. So all these things are a part of what we call sentence structure errors. Now the goal of this second part of this lesson is to help students identify erroneous or incorrect sentences, and then identify the name or the type of the error they made, and then try to correct it and self-correct it. All right. For this, we are going to see three main types of sentence structure errors, which are sentence fragments, incomplete sentences, and comma splices. We're going to explain what they are, and run-on sentences. We're going to also explain what they are. All right. Now let's start with this. Let's analyze this example. Because the experiment was successful, period. Of course, this is a sentence fragment. Why? Because it lacks a main independent clause. The meaning is not complete. It begins with a subordinating conjunction, because, but does not provide the complete thought or main clause to complete the sentence.
In academic writing, such fragments are incorrect unless used intentionally for stylistic reasons, which are rare in formal contexts. The correct version is as follows. Because the experiment was successful, the hypothesis was confirmed, for example. Okay. Now, let's see this other example. The sample size was small, comma, the results were inclusive, period. In this example, we call it a comma splice. Why? Because it joins two independent clauses with only a comma. So this is an example of wrong use of punctuation. Both parts can stand alone as separate sentences, so they should be joined correctly. Now we have many ways of correcting this kind of sentence, which means here are a few correct versions. Okay. We can use a period. The sample size was small, period. The results were inconclusive, period. A period is simply a full stop in American English. Okay. Now, or, which is a more interesting one, is that you can also use a semicolon. Now, what is a semicolon? It has a dot on top and a comma under it. Okay. So we can say the sample size was small, semicolon. The results were inconclusive, period. And the does not take which means T is not capitalized. Okay, it's not capitalized, so we can complete it as one sentence. Okay, or we can simply use a coordinating conjunction. The sample size was small, comma, and the results were inconclusive. And now we have written a compound sentence. So we have three ways of correcting comma splices. Next on to the third type of sentence structures errors, which is run-on sentences. What are run-on sentences? Let's see this example. The researcher collected data from multiple resources. She analyzed the data thoroughly. Period. Again, I'm going to read it. The researcher collected data from multiple sources. She analyzed the data thoroughly, period. Which means there are no other punctuation marks in the entire sentence other than the full stop at the end. Let's analyze this sentence. This is a run-on sentence because it joins two independent clauses without proper punctuation, again, and no coordinating conjunction. It can be corrected by dividing. Either we can divide it into two sentences or add in appropriate punctuation and conjunctions. Okay. Here, in fact, this example is incomplete. We need to add a third and a fourth sentences. Sometimes some students write without punctuation. There's an entire paragraph without punctuation, so these sentences are literally simple sentences, but they are one after the other. Okay, written one after the other without a single. We can't even take a breath when we read it. All right. So in reality, we have to say. So this is where the word run-on sentences come from. Like sentences with complete with subjects and verbs and everything, but there are no periods between the sentences. There's no capitalization, no proper punctuation, and especially no linking words. You see, no linking words, so the meaning is difficult to find or to divide. It's difficult to divide the sentences without these markers. So we have a few ways of correcting this error. Structure. You see, it is all about structure errors. For example, we can separate the sentences simply. Okay, the researcher collected data from multiple resources, period. She analyzed the data thoroughly, but she has to be capitalized because it is the beginning of another sentence. We could use semicolons like at the beginning. The researcher collected data from multiple resources, semicolon, she analyzed the data thoroughly, and then period, and then we add another sentence. Okay, but the laboratory did not accept her, for example, her research. Okay, we can also use coordinating conjunctions. The researcher collected data from multiple resources, comma, and she analyzed data thoroughly. Okay, we can add while she waited for other data to conclude. Okay, so, or she analyzed other data to coordinate with the previous ones. So here we can make it simply. We can transform these sentences, these choppy sentences, let's call them, okay, into either complex sentences or compound sentences or compound complex sentences. This is where knowing how to write the correct different types of sentences in order to avoid writing choppy and cheap language. All right. So this is all for now. Please, you can reread the lesson again and try to find. I'm going to leave you with a few examples or another activity with a few sentences that you will need to identify the type of sentences. And if there is any error, you need to identify the type of the error, structural error, and of course you are going to be asked to correct it. So I'm going to leave you with a few sentences and try to do this activity with all the aforementioned instructions. All right. For now, thank you very much for listening. And again, as always, happy learning.